What rooms are you in? What rooms are you putting yourself in? Where are you showing up and how are you showing up in order to truly create great, deep, meaningful relationships that build connection, that sit upon a foundation of purpose and servant leadership? On this week's episode of The Rutledge Perspective, I'm coming to you from New Orleans, Louisiana, where I have just had the pleasure of being a part of the BWLC Summit and was on a panel with some amazing women. And it made me think about the topic I want to talk to you about today, which is, which rooms are you in? You know, we talk a lot about the seat at the table, and we had a great speaker talking about that today, this weekend. And we talk about the seat at the table and being in the meetings and being on the projects and all of those kind of things. But I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, what rooms are you in? What people do you surround yourself with, right? What organizations do you become a part of? Where do you build community, not only for your personal life, but for your professional life? And this weekend, meeting so many of these women. So BWLC, for those of you who don't know, started as an employee resource group at Xerox. It now has a 501c3 foundation that gives scholarships out. But it also is broadened in that it is open to people who aren't even at Xerox, right? So you don't have to work at Xerox to come to the summit and participate in some of the things that the BWLC does. So it's a room full of incredibly bold, brilliant, and resilient Black women, and some men and a few non-Black women. But it was a room full of amazing individuals. And it made me think of that saying that we always hear, right? Of, tell me how successful you are by showing me the 5 people you surround yourself with. And I believe it's actually bigger than that. It's bigger than just the 5 people. It is getting out, for sure. It is networking, for sure. It's connecting, for sure. But even more than that, it is making an intentional decision about where you go, which rooms you put yourself in, and how you show up in those rooms. We just ended the conference today as I'm recording this, and we all were standing there at the end, connecting over LinkedIn, scheduling coffee chats, making sure that it was truly relationship building. This wasn't about just showing up to show up, just networking to network, just how many more people can you get as followers? How many more people can you get on your LinkedIn? This was about genuine connection, the ability to support and uplift and encourage and engage with other women who are trying to make an incredible impact on the world. And not just trying, they are making an incredible impact on the world through their work at Xerox or their other organizations or through their own businesses. It was a room full of hope and pride and love and encouragement, and such an incredible event that reminded me to remind you that some of the things we do, we don't always do with intention. We think we're doing them with intention, but we're just doing them because they are the things to do, where we're supposed to go, how we're supposed to network, what we're supposed to say. And we don't stop and sit a minute and say, what exactly is my purpose? What is the purpose that I'm trying to fulfill? What is my strategy? Where am I trying to go? What is the thing I'm trying to accomplish? And then when I understand that and am clear about that, what am I doing intentionally to support that vision, to support that goal, right? Moving into empowered action. Don't just go to every conference just to say you've gone to conferences. Don't just go to every event, every meeting, every gala, just so you can say you've been there. Now, if that's your thing, right, that you just like to go to things, then so be it. But if your thing is to achieve specific goals, to deliver on your divine purpose, to move forward with a trajectory that says, you know, I may not get it right all the time, but I am directionally correct most of the time, then those rooms that you put yourself in are rooms that have the people in them, the knowledge in them, the skills and experience and wisdom in them that enable you to learn and grow and develop and build those things for yourself. They are rooms where you are not the smartest person in the room, where you are not the most connected person in the room, where you are not the most brilliant person in the room. You are absolutely brilliant, but there are tons of people that are more brilliant than you, right? Or have different experiences and different wisdom. And you walk into the room ready to absorb and learn and grow and to deliver whatever you can to serve someone else, to connect with someone else. It is a totally different mindset around how and why and where you show up. We get so much pressure about networking and going to events and making sure we're showing up and being visible. And that is important. You cannot build a career or a business by being silent, by just grinding, by just keeping your head down. That's not how that works. We are communal beings, number one. But number two, trust is built by connection. You want people to be able to say your name in a room because they've met you, they've worked with you, they've seen you. You have deliberately made a connection to build a relationship, not just self-serving name dropping, but real relationship. And to pause a minute, let's talk about what I mean by that. When we're talking about building real relationships, a relationship is a give and take. And a professional relationship is one wherein you are able to give as much as you receive. And it's a back and forth. There's sometimes when you are really serving that other person, and there are other times when they are really serving you. But at the end of the day, there is a mutually beneficial reason for the connection. That's a professional relationship. It's the same with personal relationships. But in professional relationships, we often think about networking or getting a mentor or getting a sponsor just for the things they can do for me. I need to find someone to help me get where I need to be. How about you switch that around and change the perspective and walk in and say, how can I gain as much information as possible to be the best connector I can be? How can I understand what that person needs, where they're trying to go, what they want? And is there something in my zone of genius or in my toolbox or in my network that will enable me to help them, to guide them, to support them where they're trying to go? Because by putting that energy out there, you are going to receive that energy back. So I ask you, what rooms are you in? What rooms are you putting yourself in? Where are you showing up and how are you showing up in order to truly create great, deep, meaningful relationships that build connection, that sit upon a foundation of purpose and servant leadership? Because if you're sitting there, then being in those rooms enables you to have conversations, to make connections, to deliver everything you can out of your genius, to support someone else, and it all comes back to you. You know, a quick story for me, for those of you who have been following me for a while, you know, I am your typical introvert. I present as extroverted, right? So the person that brought me here and asked me to come speak is someone I've known forever. She worked for me years ago and love her. I'm so proud of all she's become and what she's done. Had no doubt because she's incredible. And as we got here, you know, there was the whole event the first day. There was a VIP luncheon or reception the night before. Then we had the whole day of things. And then there was a gala last night with a big party after and all those things. And I was like, now, you know. And she said, I know. Because I went to the reception and it was great. And I hung out and then I went to bed because I'd been up since 3:00. And then we had the whole day on Saturday with great things. And then I got dressed up and went to the gala, which is really different for me too, because I don't just love those things. But committed myself to ensuring I was going to go to more of those because they are events where you can actually give back most of the time, right? There's silent auctions or there's scholarships. There's some reason to have the gala, and I love being able to participate in something that's purposeful. And so I did go. We did the dinner, and I stayed for the party for a while, and then I went to bed. And so I completely missed the after party. And one of the women who is here, who happens to be a member of my same sorority, she said, we're doing after party and we're doing all of this. And I looked at my watch and I said, It's about an hour past my bedtime now. So I will be there in spirit. And what was so great about being able to do that was, number one, there were so many connections that were made. The whole Divine Nine was represented here, which was so cool. So we got to take a lot of pictures there. So there was immediate connections of the sisterhood. But what was so incredible about that was being in that room and knowing that everyone in the room was showing up the way they wanted, needed, desired to show up in their authentic self. I know how my energy level runs. I know that staying out all night and then being able to function the next day, that just does not work for me because I am an early riser. My brain is up. I'm getting things done. I'm connecting. I'm doing my meditations, all those kind of things very early. Now, I did stay out later because I'm also here at an event and I wanted to connect with people and I wanted to enjoy them. But we also know our limits, right? And so in order to make sure that you are in the room and are showing up in the room in the best way possible in the room, it makes sense for you to understand and sit deep in who you are, where you are, what you want, and what it's going to take to get you there, and what you're willing to do around those things that are going to be necessary to get you there. And so I ask you, what rooms are you showing up in? How intentional are you being about where you connect and who you connect with? And when you show up in those rooms, how are you showing up? Who are you talking to? How are you serving the other people that are there? Because even when you show up as a guest, it's not about you. It's not about you. That's one of the problems we have today. So many of us think it's all about us. Leadership is about behavior, not about position. Leadership is about knowing that you get things done with and through and for and by other people. That's leadership. And in order to be a phenomenal leader, you have to show up. And in order to continue to grow and learn and develop and expand and meet that mission to make that impact that you're trying to make, you've got to put yourself in a room where there are people who are doing more, been different places, know more stuff, done more things than you ever have, than you ever possibly will have. And you've got to make sure that you are spending the time to make that happen in a way that is not only true to you, but also true to the impact that you're trying to make. So I will leave you with this week. Go look at your calendar. What's going on around you that will enable you to put yourself in a room where you can grow, you can expand, you can build on your skills, you can get encouragement and wisdom and guidance, and you can do the same for someone else that's in that room. Where can you go? Where can you spend the time to invest in your growth and invest in the encouragement and growth and uplifting and support of someone else? Go put yourself in that room. And by the way, if you're listening to this or watching this, drop something in the comments about some place that you would encourage people to go to be able to be in a room with incredible people, people from whom you can learn, people with whom you can connect, and people with whom you can build real relationships that are mutually beneficial, both personally and potentially professionally, but more so from the core of your spirit and your very being able to connect with other people who are trying to do great work. Thank you so much for watching The Rutledge Perspective and for listening in on the podcast this week. I truly appreciate it. I had a great time here in New Orleans, and I am excited to get back home and to share some more things with you guys. Catch me on the radio station on Tuesday. And also, please stay tuned to my social media because I'm going to be making some announcements about the website that is finally up and running and some things that I have for all of you to be able to test and go out and see and learn and broaden your perspectives and figure out what are those 5 things you need to avoid if you're a founder as you're building your business. So have a great week. I appreciate every single listen, every single download. I thank you so much for being a part of my village, and I look forward to seeing you the next time. As always, go out on the platform and do us a favor and give us a 5-star review because that gives us a chance to reach more people. And if you have something you want me to talk about, drop me a DM. I'm on LinkedIn at Laurel K. Rutledge. I'm on Facebook at The Rutledge Perspective. You're seeing this on YouTube at The Rutledge Perspective. So you can drop me one on IG as well at laurel.k.rutledge. I'd love to hear from you and some of your ideas about what we should talk about. Take care, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye. You have been listening to the Rutledge Perspective podcast. Thank you so much for downloading and for connecting. You can find previous episodes of the podcast on my website at laurelrutledge.com/podcast. You can also find me on social media at Laurel K. Rutledge and/or The Rutledge Perspective. And I'd love your perspective on the things we talk about. And if there's a specific topic you want me to cover, just let me know. And please share this podcast with someone in your village who may need this little piece of perspective today. And if you're so inclined, I would really appreciate a 5-star rating and review on the platform of your choice. Apple Podcasts and Spotify reviews are particularly helpful. Thank you again for listening. Take care.